Okay, good morning. My name is Joseph DeLuca, present in the room with me today, and it's Thursday, March 3rd, 2005. We're in Ottawa at the Chateau Laurier Hotel in room 5112. Present with me today are Mr. Louis Strezos and Mr. Ian Smith. The three of us are lawyers appointed by the Court of Appeal to act as friends of the court on behalf of Rob Stewart. Also present here is Linda Beland, correct?
Yep.
And Miss Teresa McQuaig, who's here as a support person. Miss Beland, I just have a few questions I wanted to ask you before we start the substance of the interview. I understand that you're here today voluntarily. No one is forcing you to be here. Is that correct?
Correct.
You're here because you want to provide a statement for Rob Stewart's case. Is that correct?
Yes.
You do not have to answer any of the questions we ask you. Do you understand that?
Yes.
If you want to stop the interview at any point in time, feel free. You can stop. We can get up and leave at any point in time. No one wants to keep you here unless you want to stay.
Okay.
If you want to have advice from a lawyer at some point, if you feel like you shouldn't answer a question, stop us and we'll see what we can do to get you that advice.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you to take an oath in a few moments. I want you to understand how important it is once you take an oath to tell the truth. And you understand that's a very important thing to do, right? You also understand it's a criminal offense to lie under oath.
Yes.
And you're here today, you're going to tell us the truth, I take it?
Yes.
All right. So I have a Bible here. I'm going to ask you to take that in your right hand. And I'll ask you, do you swear that the statement you're about to provide today is true, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Beland. It's Louis Strezos. I'm not on the camera, but I'm sitting next to you in this room, and the microphone will amplify my voice as well as yours. Just briefly, as an introductory matter, could you please say your name and your date of birth?
Linda Beland, 13th of July, 1961.
Okay. Where were you born?
In Ottawa.
Okay. Do you currently live in the Ottawa area?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Now, in preparation of this interview, I had sent down to you by courier your trial testimony in the Trudel and Sauvé trial. You have two books in front of you. Well, you have one currently. Do you have the second one, Miss Beland? I believe yours. I believe it's just over there. Can we have that brought over?
Thank you.
The first book that's just been handed to you is entitled Trial Testimony, Linda Beland, and the first index note is Trudel and Sauvé. That's April 15th, 1996, and that at tab 1 contains your trial testimony from those proceedings in 96. In addition, at tabs 2, 3, 4, and 5 is your trial testimony from the trial of Mr. Stewart and Mr. Mallory. Okay?
This here?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Just for the record, we have removed any references to proceedings in your absence. So this is just your trial testimony, and there's no discussions about any objections. So that is your trial testimony. And do you recall today, looking through that, do you agree with those are the dates roughly on the dates you testified?
Yes.
Okay. In addition, the second document, the second bound volume of material, contains 11 tabs, and you have it there? Mm-hmm. You've had a chance to go through some of that?
Up to 5.
Okay. If at any point you need additional time to review it, we're here all day. We can stop and you can go through it at any time you want. We may have some questions about it, so we have the day here. But just to confirm, and the index will be filed with this transcript, but there are 8 interviews in addition to some preparation notes of Ms. Baer dated April 9th, 1999 that are tabbed there. In addition, there is an affidavit of Linda Beland contained at tab 10 dated June 21, 2004. That is at tab 10. Now you, before we started these proceedings, had a chance to look at that affidavit.
Yes, I did.
And is that your affidavit?
Yes, it is.
And is that the one you swore in Ottawa on June 21st, 2004?
Yep.
Okay. There's a series of questions that I'm now going to ask you, Ms. Beland. Based on our review of the disclosure, it would appear that you have been approached or interviewed or talked to the police approximately 70 times about the Cumberland murders. Is that about accurate?
You said 70?
60 or 70 contacts with the police?
There was lots.
Okay.
I'm not sure about numbers, but there was lots.
All right. And you testified both at the Trudell and Sauvé trial, and at that time you were called as a defense witness, correct?
Yes.
All right. And who called you? Do you remember testifying at Rob Stewart's trial?
Yes.
All right. And who called you as a witness in those proceedings?
Vicky Bear.
Okay. Have you ever been interviewed by Heather LaMarche, Vicky Bear, Rick Riddell, Christina Benson, Ian Davidson, Al Spadaccini, Gary Doherty, and John Balco?
Yes.
Okay. And all those interviews are in the binders of material you have there,
Yes.
their notes. Okay. Have you ever been interviewed by a defense lawyer?
No.
Okay. Were you asked at any time during the interviews by the police or during your trial testimony or prior to your trial testimony if 5 people, including Dennis Gaudreau, came running into your house in Orleans at 10 p.m. on a school night?
Not in those words.
Okay. Did that ever happen?
No.
Were you ever asked at any time in any of the statements you've given to the police or testimony if Rick Trudell was, quote, running around like a chicken with his head cut off in your house in Orleans at 10 p.m. on a school night?
No.
Did that ever happen?
No.
Were you ever asked at any time in those interviews or testimony if you ever heard in your house in Orleans at 10 p.m. on a school night Rick Trudell, while running into your house saying he got it twice and the bitch got done in the back?
No.
Did that ever happen?
No.
Were you ever asked at any time in those interviews that you have before you or testimony if Rick Mallory was sweating at your kitchen table in your house in Orleans at 10 p.m. on a school night?
No.
Did that ever happen?
No.
I'm going to pose a hypothetical here to you. If 5 people came running into your house on a school night and Rob Stewart told you to drive Dennis Gaudreau home, would you have done this?
No.
Would you have done this at night?
No. Especially not night.
Would you have done it on a foggy evening?
No.
Would you have done this without asking Mr. Stewart any questions about that?
No.
Would you have done this and got into your car and only talked to Mr. Gaudreau about taking Rhonda to bingo?
No.
What would your reaction have been, or actions, if you had seen Mr. Gaudreau grab a bag of guns out of the back seat of your car?
I would have panicked. Got upset.
Did you ever observe that happen?
No.
If such a thing happened, would you have forgotten about it?
No.
Do you remember Dennis Roy's suicide?
Yes.
Did you go to Mr. Gaudreau's house and get drugs off him?
No.
If so that never happened.
No.
Could Did you ever see Rick Mallory getting into the back seat of a car sitting between Jim Sauvé and Rick Trudell?
No.
If 5 people came running into your house talking about, quote, he got it twice and the bitch got done in the back, would you have went to the police?
Of course.
Would you have disclosed that to the police?
Yes.
A few months after you testified in the Cumberland murder trial, did you testify in another murder case?
Don't understand what you mean by that.
Have you testified in any other murder cases?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Do you remember the name of that case?
Oh, no, I don't remember. It was a neighbor across the street from Newport.
Okay. Did you go to the police by yourself on that murder case?
No, they were going door to door, and when they came to my door, I told them what I observed.
Okay. Do you recall testifying in Mr. Stewart's trial in 1999 before Justice McWilliam?
Yes.
Okay. After you finished testifying, did you want to go back to court?
Yes.
Okay. Why did you not go back to court?
Because Head de la Marche, Rick Riddell, and Vicky Bear, which was the Crown Attorney in OPP, they told me I wasn't allowed to go there in court to sit because I was a witness.
Okay. Did you want to continue to testify?
I was finished testifying,
Okay.
and they still didn't want me to go.
Okay. Have you always told the police, the court the truth in dealing with them?
Yes.
What happened when you went to see Mike Edelson? First of all, did you ever go to see Mike Edelson?
Yes.
Okay. What happened there?
Well, it was a waste of my time. I went there on my own I wanted to know what was going on with Robert, why he was arrested, and what kind of proof they had, and da-da-da. And Mr. Edelson told me that he could not speak to me, that he could not talk to me about anything. So I left. That was the only lawyer I ever talked to,
Okay.
any conversation I ever had.
Have you had discussions with Mr. Stewart about this case?
I don't understand your question.
For example, there's a conversation on Mr. Stewart's website about this case.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever tried to contact the Crown Attorneys or the police in regards to your trial testimony at Mr. Stewart's trial after you testified?
After?
Yeah.
Yes, I did, because they told me, because I wanted to go to court and they wouldn't they said I wasn't allowed.
Okay.
And they had promised me that once everything was finished, when Mr. Stewart was accused, or when the trial was finished,
Right.
and he was, whatever the decision was made,
Okay.
that they were going to sit with me and explain everything to me, which they never did. And every time I tried to contact them, I could never contact. They never returned my call. I have no clue where they are. Miss Vicky Bear, many times I went to court on Elgin,
Is this true?
attempt to see her, and
When was that roughly?
oh, I really.
What did you want to tell Miss Bear?
Well, at the beginning, I wanted to know why they never sat down with me, and where was Rick Riddell and all
Said
that.
what with you?
To tell me what happened, why they put Robert away.
Okay.
What was the evidence they had to put him away?
Okay. And what are you specifically referring to about being told about these things? What didn't they tell you that you now know?
First of all, about me driving Dennis Goudreau and all these people running around with their head cut off like a chicken.
Okay.
These things, and the evidence that they had to put Mr. Stewart away, Robert away.
Did you ever drive Dennis Goudreau home?
No, I didn't.
In your attempts to contact the police, did anybody ever call you back?
Like the OPP? you mean?
Yes.
Yes, they always called me back. I called
Okay.
them. Not at the end, though.
Not at the end?
No, since the trial's been over, no.
Okay.
None of them ever called. I tried numerous of times, and Never.
This morning we played a tape for you that we took possession of from Mr. Stewart's prior counsel, Ms. Mulligan. Can you confirm, first of all, that you've listened to that tape?
Yes, I did.
And we also have a transcription of that tape. Did you review that?
Yes, I did.
Is that your voice on that tape?
Yes, it is.
And the comments that you make in that tape, have you reviewed it thoroughly?
Yes, I did.
Were you telling the truth in that conversation?
Yes, I was.
Okay. I think we're going to take a break right now. Those are the questions that Mr. Stewart asked us to ask you. I think we're going to take a break. There's some material that Mr. Smith and I and Mr. DeLuca would like to go through briefly if we just take about a 20-minute or a half-hour break.
Okay.
Is that fine?
Yep.
Time is now 10:20. Thank you, Ms. Beland. We've had a bit of a break. Some follow-up questions.
Lou, let me interrupt you there. It's a quarter to 12. Ms. Beland, I just want to go over two brief things. You've come back to the hotel room. You're here voluntarily again?
Yep.
No one's forcing you to come back to continue answering any of our questions?
No.
And again, if you feel like you want to stop or not answer any questions or speak to a lawyer or just get up and leave the room, say so, and that's fine with us. I just want to be clear about that.
Yes.
Okay? And we administered an oath earlier this morning. I just want to be clear that you're still under oath. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, and you're sworn to tell the truth in the answers that you're going to give us now. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Beland. Earlier, I referred to an audio tape that you listened to, and I referred to a transcript. And just for clarity's sake, that transcript is a conversation between you and Rob Stewart, and it appears at tab 11 of the binder entitled Statements of Linda Beland. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You've listened to that audio tape, and you've
Yes.
listened to, and you've read that transcript, correct?
Yes.
All right. If I could take you to tab 1, please. At tab 1 is a interview report that was taken on October 18th, 1993. It's commenced at 10:30 and concluded at 11:53. And it would appear that it was taken by Sergeant Ian Davidson and Constable Benson. If I could turn to page 7 of that interview. Okay, middle of the page.
Yes.
A question by one of the officers: did Rob ever discuss the case? Can you read the answer that you gave, please?
Yeah, at jail, he showed that I drove Dennis home the night of the murder. I never drove him home.
Okay. Were you telling the truth to the police?
Yes, I was.
All right. Have you ever been interviewed by Sue Mulligan?
No.
Have you ever been interviewed by any of her associates at the firm that she was working with?
No.
All right. I'd like to now have you pick up the second binder. That is entitled Trial Testimony, Linda Beland in Trudell and Sauvé and R versus Stewart. And firstly, I would like you to go to tab 1. On April 15th, 1996, you testified as a defense witness in the Trudell and Sauvé trial. And if you could go to page 20, please. And this is cross-examination by Miss Vicki Bear.
Okay.
Okay? And if you could please start reading the middle of the page with the following question. Question: the first time that you were asked by the police about whether you remember driving Dennis Gaudreau anywhere was in October of 1993. Does that seem about right? Okay. Can you start reading there, please, ma'am?
Okay, the first time that you were asked by the police about whether you remember driving Dennis Guger anywhere was in October of '93.
Right.
Does that seem right?
Okay, yes, that's the question. Now what I ask you to do is read from page 20, commencing there, to page 22. Okay? Can you read that?
Out loud?
No,
Okay.
you don't have to read it out loud. Just make sure you read it. And I take it you're fully conversant with reading English. I know you also speak French, but
Yeah,
you can
but
read
I'm
it.
okay. It's just when I talk sometime I think French and it comes out not right.
Okay, but you can read English. You don't have
Yes.
any difficulty. All right.
No.
Okay, and just to confirm, you've read through to the end of page 22,
Yes.
and in particular, that entire page.
Any comment?
Let's go through your entire testimony and proceedings. So that's the first issue I'd like to go through at Trudell and Sauvé. I'll ask you for comments in a minute, and I'll ask you some questions. If you could now please turn to tab 5. And in particular, ma'am, if you could go to page 11799. Okay, let's just make sure you have the correct page. I know there's... Okay, 11799, yes. And this is your trial testimony in the proceedings of Stewart and Mallory on April 28th, 1999. And you were called by the Crown as a witness, correct?
Yes.
All right. This particular passage commencing at 11799 is Miss Mulligan's cross-examination of you, and if you could start reading from line 17, please.
That would be the police were.
The question, the police have talked to you
Okay.
as we went through a good number of times, have they not? And I'd ask you to read through to page 11803.
So what page you want me to read again? 802?
Yes, 802.
Sorry.
Sorry, no, 803. I apologize.
Okay.
Right to the end, please.
You know, there was one thing though here, when I keep saying I don't remember, reason why I was saying that, or don't remember, if you could, like, at the way beginning, I know I never drove that guy, and I was certain of it.
What guy are you referring to?
Dennis Goudreau.
Okay.
From the beginning, I know I never drove that guy, but the reason why I keep saying I don't remember, because throughout all of my interview, they kept saying to me, well, if you're not sure, it's best to say you don't remember than saying yes or no.
Who would say that to you?
Heather Lamarche, Rick Riddell, Vicky Bear at the time when I was in her Crown attorney in her office.
Okay.
These questions were always said that to me. That's why I kept saying, well, I don't remember.
Okay.
Because I thought to me it was better to say that than, because it kept saying that to me. You know, it's best if you don't remember to say you don't remember.
How often would they say things like that to you?
Lots of time.
Yeah, that
Often.
Okay.
Often they would say. Most of the time is when, especially when it came down to driving Dennis Goudreau.
Yeah. Okay.
That was one of the part that they would say that. If you're not sure, it's best you say you don't remember.
Sorry. And that specific area about driving Dennis Goudreau is a particular area. Do I understand it that they were focusing on?
Yeah.
All right. So you've read through to page 11803?
No, I'm at 1180.
Okay.
Sorry. Good.
If you could turn over just one more page, there's a jury break there. If you could commence reading at page 11807 and continue reading to 11813. Again, this is continued cross-examination by Ms. Mulligan, counsel Mr. Stewart. to 11813. The page.
Yeah, I'm at 11811.
Oh.
No, it's fast.
No, take your time. Just one second. Be very careful.
That's what I'm doing.
You've read up to 11813.
Yeah.
If you could please move forward to page 11872. This is under continued cross-examination by Ms. Mulligan. Commencing
Okay.
at line 9. You'll see-
9?
Yeah, you'll see.
Sorry, your book is losing stuff, not full of it.
Yeah.
9?
Yeah, that's page 11872, commencing at line 9 with the question by Ms. Mulligan.
Okay.
Let's go back to driving
Driving.
Mr. Gaudreau. Can you please read from that page through to 11874, or 11882.
Okay.
And I'd ask you to stop at 11874 because I just want to point out something.
Okay.
get to line 25 at page 11873,
That's where I am right now.
could you read, actually, just read on, please.
I'm at 874 there. You wanted to point out
Yes.
something?
All right, now, at this point, there is a break in the proceedings because there's some legal argument that's going to be raised. And at this point, the jury is sent out, okay? And just to confirm, in this material that we have before you, you don't have that material. We've taken it out, correct? So you'll agree with me now that the next, what I'd like you to do now is, you'll see that from 11874 to 11881 are not in your materials, correct?
Correct.
All right. Now, I'd like you to read page 11882.
Now?
Yeah.
Okay.
And just up to line 10.
Okay.
Okay? You read that?
No.
Oh, sorry.
I'm just saying okay.
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 Okay. I'd ask you now to go to page 11895.
Okay.
And you are now being re-examined by Miss Vicky Bear, and she is Crown Counsel. And if you could start reading, Miss Beland, at the beginning, if you start with the last question on page 11895, beginning with,
This morning nobody provide them to you?
no, you have page 11895?
Oh, 119. Sorry.
11895?
895. I don't have that. I got 11896, 897, 11885.
Okay, well, I have it in my copy here then, sorry.
Oh, this is all mixed up. Hold on. Why is it 11 nights?
The photocopier
Oh,
made
it's
it.
right here.
Okay, there you
It's
go.
because it's,
Is it out of order?
yeah.
Okay, well, use my copy. Mine seems to be in order. And I'd ask you to begin
Sorry.
with the question by Ms. Bear on the point of whether you drove Dennis Gaudreau that night. Have you said anything different today? Question. Okay, can you read from there on
Okay.
and continue? Over to the next page.
Okay.
Could you just, for our benefit, please, and for the tape, could you read the questions and answers commencing at 11895 that I asked you to read, beginning with that first question by Miss Baer?
Out loud?
Yes.
On the point of whether you drove Dennis Goudreau that night, have you said anything different today? Answer. The only difference is that I say that I'm not 100% sure if I did drove him or not.
On the next page, please.
Question. And is that what you said then, that you weren't sure? Answer. No, not back then. Question. When? Answer. Back then I was sure that I didn't drive him. Question. When were you sure you didn't drive him? Answer. When I was first asked. Question. Okay, but when you testified the last time? Answer. Question. When the defense lawyer called you and when I cross-examined you? Question. Were you sure then? Answer. Yes, I was. Question. You were sure? Answer. I wasn't sure. What I'm sure of is that I am 100% not sure if I drove him or if I did drove. Question. You're sure you're 100% not sure if you drove him? That's clear. Got it. Answer. Sorry?
Okay, thank you. Why did you testify you were not sure that you drove him?
Because I was told over and over and over that you didn't remember. They kept saying, because I knew from the beginning I did not drove that guy, and I know today, right, I'm sitting here, I never drove that guy.
Where?
To his house after apparently the murder. Because they're saying that they all came to my house, which that never happened, and I know that.
Okay.
And they said that I had drove Dennis Goudreau home. I did not drove that guy. I never drove that guy anywhere.
Okay.
And I'm positive, and I'm sure, I'm 100% sure I did not drive him.
Now, has the Crown Attorney in this matter, did the Crown Attorney, Miss Vicky Baer, have any discussions with you about this?
Yes, she did.
Can you please tell us what those discussions were?
Well, I was asked a lot of questions to start with, and a lot of time I didn't remember things. And then when she came to Dennis Goudreau, me driving him, I kept saying, no, I didn't drive that guy. No, I didn't drive him.
And who were you telling that to?
To Vicky Baer.
Okay.
And also when I was doing this interview with Vicky Baer, Rick Riddle and Heather Lamache was also sitting in the room there.
Okay.
They were in that room. But
did they say anything to you during the
No, it was her that did all the questioning.
Okay.
And every time they would ask me about that driving Dennis Goudreau, well, at that time, from hearing them all the time telling me, well, it's best, I had confidence in these people, I believe in these people.
Can you tell us a little bit, before we go to that specific conversations with them, can you tell us a little bit about the relationship that you developed with the police and the Crown in this case?
I was very close to them. I trusted them, and I had confidence with them.
All right. Now, when you say them, can you identify people by name?
Yes. There is Vicky Baer, which was a Crown attorney. There was Heather Lamache, she's an OPP officer. There was Rick Riddle, another OPP officer. Chris Benson, she was the one that I was the closest to of all of them, though. Chris Benson. She was another OPP officer. And then there was Dorothy. I didn't see him that much, that guy. But
did you ever give them a Christmas card or something like that, remember?
I could have.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, please continue.
Well, I like I said, I got a friendship with these people, because they were very, to me, the law is the law, and I believe in these people. I didn't think, anything bad of them, and like they're saying to me, a lot of time they were asking me questions, like I kept saying I didn't remember, or they would ask me things that had nothing to do with the murder, so I would tell them, why you ask, it's got nothing to do with the murder, why are you asking me that? And they kept, Vicky Baer kept saying to me, well, sometime maybe there's something you must have heard, you probably heard, or heard of the conversation, and to you it doesn't mean nothing, but to us it's a piece of a puzzle. So that's why she said they kept asking me all these questions. And then they come again. Well, most of the time, every time I was asked a question with them, I don't know, I guess I was told so many times that it was best to say that I don't remember than saying I'm not sure. Which, because I was always saying that I don't remember, because there was a lot of things I didn't remember. I mean, there's a lot of years in between. But I'll tell you one thing, I know I did not drive Dennis Goudreau. I did not drive that guy. I know I didn't.
Can you tell me a little bit about when you were testifying in the Stewart and Mallory trial? Did you have any contact with Miss Bear during your trial testimony?
Yes. Every time we break, we go in her office, which is in the Crown Attorney's office. And I'm not quite sure what day it was or what time, but I know that we were breaking for lunch at one time. We went to her office, and I'm not quite sure what happened, but she had to go home, and she brought me with her. I went with her to her house.
Did anybody else go with you?
No, it was just me and her.
How long did you stay there?
We weren't there that long. She had to do something, or she had to go get, I'm not sure what she was doing there. But we went in, I entered her house, I went into the house with her, and she went and done whatever she had to do, and then we left.
Can you describe her house a little bit?
Well, I know when you come in, it's a huge, I don't remember what it looks like outside, but I know it's in front of a big park, like there's a big park there, and when you come in, there's stairs, you go up, as soon as you come in that door, it's her kitchen, and then there's stairs going downstairs, and then to your right, it was her living room, and to the left here, that was her sink, and there was a window there. And I guess upstairs, she didn't show me the rest of the house, but when you came in, that's the way it was.
Were any of the police officers there with you?
No.
All right. What happened after you were at the house? Did you go back to court?
We went back to her office at court.
Do you recall what happened then?
Well, we went through the paper that I had to go through, and then we were called, and I had to go on the stand.
I asked you earlier some questions on behalf of Mr. Stewart. As to whether you would drive Mr. Goudreau home on a school night if Mr. Stewart asked you to do so and you said no. Why is that? Why wouldn't you do that?
On a school night?
Yeah.
First of all, if there was 5 men in my house, I would never leave my kids alone with these people if they were running around with with their head cut off like a chicken, first of all. And second of all, I never had anybody, and Rob never asked me to drive anybody. He would have never done that.
Just going back to your testimony at this trial, can you explain a little more about the dynamic of why you said you didn't remember, or you can't be 100% sure you didn't? Can you explain why you said these things under oath?
First of all, Rick Pradell, Heather Lamarche, which are OPP that were officer in Robert's case, and Vicky Bear, through our interview with these people, like I said, I developed a friendship with these people. I was very close to them. I believed in them. And a lot of time I didn't remember a lot of things they would ask. I didn't remember. I wasn't sure. So they kept saying to me, it's always better to say, if you're not sure about something, it's always best to say you don't remember, instead of saying yes or no, or I'm not sure. So that's why, to me, that stayed with me. So every time I wasn't sure or whatever, I just kept saying that. I don't remember. I don't know why I said that, but I said it a lot.
Okay, well, with respect to Mr. Goudreau, you're very clear about that today.
Yes, I am very clear.
And when the police first spoke to you in October,
I was clear there too.
October 18th, 1993.
Yes, I was. And I was clear as we went along the interview. It was just, I guess, from years of being Rob and Toll, and I just said what they said to me.
Did you tell Vicky Bear that you did not drive Dennis Goudreau home?
Yes, I did.
Okay, Ms. Beland, I think that concludes our interview unless there's any follow-up questions by my co-counsel.
Well, I have a question.
Sorry, let me just follow up on that. What was Miss Baer's response? I asked you, did you tell Vicky Baer that you did not drive Dennis Goodrow home? What was her response to that? Do you recall? Do you know what she said at that regard?
Well, I've told her no. I remember that, and she kept insisting. Are you sure? You sure about that? You sure you did not drive it? She kept always saying, "Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure?" Maybe you're not sure. She kept saying that to me.
All right. When you finished testifying in the Stewart and Mallory trial, can you describe what happened after you got off the stand?
Well, after I got off the stand, I hugged Miss Vicky Baer, and
Where did that happen?
that was in outside the court. When you come out of the court, I gave her a hug, of course, because I was close to her, and you know. And then we talked, and then that's when I asked. I said, now can I go and sit in the court so I could, you know, because I wanted to know. And she said, no, I wasn't allowed. And then at that time, that's when Rick Riddell and Heather LaMarche came out. And I approached them with that, and I said, well, how come I can't go sit there? And then they also said, well, it's best you don't because you're still a witness, and maybe we'll need you to come back. I said, well, I just testified. Why would I have to come back? And that's when they said, well, it's best you don't, because if you do, then we might need you again. So they didn't want me to go into the courtroom. And I told them it was important to me, not to me, mostly for my son, Douglas, because I want to know for him, because he believed in his dad. As a matter of fact, they offered Robert a plea. If he'd plead guilty, they would let him go. And Robert approached Douglas, our son, with that. And Douglas looked at Robert and he says, Dad, you are innocent, and I believe in you. And he said, you stay and fight. And that's why Robert stayed, and he refused it, and he's fighting.
Has Mr. Stewart in any way pressured you, threatened you?
Never.
Here today?
No.
To come and speak to us?
No. I'm here on my own free will.
Okay. Time now is 12:35. I believe that conducts this interview. We're back on the record, Ms. Beland. It's now 12:31, and you continue to be under oath. And I forgot, you had mentioned you had a question or you wanted to indicate something else. Could you please go ahead?
Well, to start with, this thing about me driving Dennis Goudreau, first of all, I don't drive at night. I shouldn't say I don't drive at night. I do, only if I really have to, because my vision, I have a hard time seeing at night, so I do not like driving at night. And especially if there's a snowstorm, or if it's foggy, or if it's raining, because I had an accident in those type of weather, and I'm very scared to drive when it's in those weather.
Okay. I think that concludes the interview. Thank you very much.